You know what the crowd was. Holy, holy. I work with Roddy Piper up in Massachusetts, where we work in a high spot, and I forget the name of the town. The place was packed, and then the whole idea was for me to work with him, and then when he puts on the sleeper behind me, the Dr. D. David Schultz walks in, supposed to knock him from the back, and we're supposed to come back on the dang. Another, the place was sold out. I never brag about it, and it was with me. So they put me with Backlund, and the place is sold out. So then I sold out. It wasn't Madison Square Garden, but you're looking at maybe 9,000, 10,000 people in the arena. So that's a sellout. But I never brag about or sell out. They put you there, you sell out because you're a worker. And then you got the champion and the guy that is such, and then they work an angle. And Dr. D is supposed to come in and hit him from behind. And some fan jump in the ring after Dr. D, and we have to beat the hell out of him before we forgot about the whole setup.
Oh man!
And the second match never happened. And then we sold out the stadium, the baseball stadium.
Gotcha.
Me and Jose Estrada against the Invaders and all those guys. Well, let me explain something to you. We're not the only one. When they have a stadium like that, they have Tommy, Dick, and Harry in the card. But yet we are the main eventers, so we could say we sold out. But how can we sell out? Well, we got other people in the card. So it's a group of characters that the people want to see. And well, I was hotter than the firecracker, and there's nobody ever going to take my place in Puerto Rico as a super medic. They try, but they can never get anybody that they can make us the heat that I did. Jose Estrada is there. He's my compadre, and him and I were the hottest. I left. He put his son. They got other people, and they never were able to bring it back because it wasn't me. It depends on the work, depends on the kind of heat you're going to put on. Yeah, Tony Gurria was a hell of a worker. He was one guy that I could work with my eyes closed, never had a problem with him. He's a super nice guy, a great baby face. He had every freaking tag team matches champion that they could give him. And then I work with him all the time, different town, different states, different towns are here, whether it's Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine, all over, Baltimore, Pennsylvania. Me and Jose worked with those guys all over the place, and we tore the house down. Why not? Jose Estrada used to be a security guy in the school in Brooklyn because he was a soldier and a veteran, and he got that kind of job, and he was jumping around the Mickey Mouse local shows. I brought him to TV with me. So we could do TV. I brought Johnny Rivera. I brought Steve King. I brought Gypsy Rodriguez. I want to tell you how SD Jones. How SD Jones was born. You want me to tell you?
Yeah. Special delivery.
One day, way back, I was I was a worker, and Gypsy Rodriguez, who had a little Mickey Mouse stuff in the Bronx that hold about 60 people, said, Johnny, man, maybe you could help us out, if you come down to the Bronx and work a little bit on our show. I said, well, look, I could go there and work on the show, but I'm going to make believe like I'm an Arab or something. Actually, I wasn't even Jabaruk. I just make believe I was. Those Hicks over there didn't know nothing. So they say, who do you want to work? And they got about 5 guys, 4 Puerto Ricans and SD Jones. But he wasn't SD Jones. He was Mike Ephraim Conrad. So The thing is, they said, who do you want to work? I saw him. He was so taller and looked bigger, about 245 pounds. And I said, how about the black fellow? And he says, oh, he don't know nothing. The Puerto Rican guys are all looking to work with me. So I said, no, I want to work with him. Ah, come on. No. I said, no, I want to work with him. I work with him. No problem. I did the match. I do my own match. The thing is that he turns around and he says, maybe you can help me. I want to get into the business. I said, look, I have a little basement workout where I live with weights, heavy weights, and then I have a 14 by 14 ropes are tied on the poles with a couple of mats on the floor. I help a few guys there for a little money so we can pay the basement, so we can work out. I said, you come, you pay for the the 2 months, and then I help you a little bit. So he did. He come down to the low, downtown. He's from the Bronx. He's from Co-op City. He came down and he did that for a couple of months. And one time, Gorilla Monsoon having a show in Trenton, New Jersey. So he knew I knew guys. So he said, "Hey Johnny, I need a couple of guys. Maybe you could bring me a guy or two." So I figured, okay, there's a good chance. So I told him, meet me, come on down from the Bronx, meet me in the Delancey Street. Pedro Morales was driving that night. So I said, Pedro, we're going to take my boy with me. Sure, he picked me up in the Delancey Street downtown close to Little Italy there. And I said, we're going to Trenton. So we're going to Trenton, and when I got to the dressing room, Gorilla Monsoon comes running and he said, Johnny, you get me the guy? I said, sure, here it is. Here it is. And he looks at him and he said, hey, how you doing? And what's your name? And then S.D. John goes, Ephraim Comrade. So Gorilla Monsoon is a comedian. And he goes, what the heck? What was that? Ephraim Comrade. So, he's from Antigua or something like that. So he talks real quick, He says, Johnny, what kind of wrestling name is that? I said, wait a minute, Gino, you asked me to bring you a guy. Here it is for special delivery. What the heck you want? So he goes, Special Delivery Jones, and you're working with him 20-minute Broadway.
Wow. Right off the cuff like that.
That
Way
was
to go,
the beginning.
Way to go, Gorilla.
That's the beginning of SD Special Delivery Jones, and I broke him in the business.
There you go. Well,
And
thank you
nobody
for
knows
too.
that because everybody thinks that he was from Philadelphia,
Right.
and they build him up in there. And I work with him, and I put him over, and everybody thinks that, wow, S.D. Jones is great. I'm the one that broke him in the business.
Johnny, what is Johnny Rod's
What is
opinion
Johnny
on
Rod's
the whole
opinion
Bruiser
on the
Brody
whole Bruiser
tragedy?
Brody
If I
tragedy?
can ask.
Well,
What
that's not a big mystery. For quite a few years back, Carlos Colon and Victor Jovica and Victor Quiñones were the owners of the company. So at one time, Victor Quiñones, who was probably almost half of that company, because you remember Victor Quiñones?
I'm aware of the name.
Well, he was referee sometime for Gorilla Monsoon, remember?
Okay.
And he lived on.
Victor Quinones.
Yes, Victor Quiñones.
When you say it
So
that
Victor
way.
Quiñones was very friendly with Gino, and Gino brought him here. And
Okay.
he let him stay at the house. Whatever storyline is there. But at one time, Victor owned practically half of Carlos Colon and Jovica's territory in Puerto Rico, because his mother died and left him a hotel and all kinds of money. So this guy he had a lot of money. But by him getting out of the business and making money back, he starts selling 10% here, 10% there, 15% here. So Gorilla Monsoon had 10%. Abdullah the Butcher had 10%. Bruce Brody had 10%. I don't know who else had 10, 15%. So all those guys with 10% and all that, to Vito Quiñones, they were part of the game of the company.
Right.
So if you got 10% and I have 10%, I'm not your boss and you're not my boss. We're equal, right?
Mm-hmm. In premise,
Okay,
yes.
so now here's what happened. There was, according to the storyline that I hear, is that Jose Gonzalez has 10%, and Bruce Brody got 10%. And like I said, all the guys have 10%. They're equal. Nobody could tell nobody else above because they're the same. They're the same amount of bosses. But somehow there was an argument or put over where Gonzalez tries to tell him how to do things because he thinks he's bigger than the other guy, and they had a little spouse going on. But according to what I know, the guy must have put a knife in a towel and went into the dressing room shower where nobody's around. And freaking, according to what they say, they stab him in the groin. And by the time they bring the ambulance, the guy bled to death. And then the only guy that was there that we know for sure was
Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas, yes. And then Tony Atlas know the same thing storyline that everybody else know because he wasn't in the shower, he was in the dressing room, but he knows he was there the night that it happened. And by the time the ambulance come and took him to the hospital, the guy bled to death, and that's the legit thing. What storyline they gave the police or the investigator, who the heck knows? And that's about it. Nobody knows anything else. They put a cover on that baby, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go work Puerto Rico after that happened or no?
No. Once I leave a territory and they play with my respect, I don't go. They wanted me to go back, but if I go back, then I'm going to have my cousin cut a couple of beers off, you know.
There you go.
You mentioned running with Andre the Giant. Can you tell us an Andre the Giant story?
Uh-oh.
He even slept on a basement apartment that I had in Queens because he went to the airport and dropped his girlfriend. He wanted me to pick him up so we could go in. I picked him up, and he didn't sleep all night. He got drunk and then come over. And he said, Johnny, it's 2 o'clock and I sleep. We're going to Staten Island to have a show. And he says, can I lay down? And he's laying down and burping, button, and you know, Andre was a regular man, you know what I mean?
How'd you get him
Only
into the
that he was the real giant.
Hey, how'd you fit him into the basement apartment? It's kind of big.
Because
How'd you fit him in there?
because he was a friend. I had a basement apartment. He had to walk down backwards.
Okay.
You know, he was. We're regulars. We got nothing to do with. And I told you that the girl that this is a real McCoy. The girl that invited my wife when they were kids, friends, you know, the age of 21 and 22. The girl that was a wrestling fan and invited my wife. They were friends from kindergarten. In Brooklyn, from little girls. And when they grew up at that age, they were still friends. And she invited her because she had extra tickets the first time. She got a ticket the second time she bought her own. And that's when I met my wife for the first time. But that girl that we're talking about is Nancy Argentino, the girl that had the problem with the snooker.
I was going to ask you about that. Do you know anything about that story?
I just told you there's nothing else to ask. That's the girl.
Did you?
And the reason, and I had nothing to do with introducing her to snooker or my wife or anything. Had nothing to do with it. That was their own meeting. There is no connection. There is no connection with us except that was her friend from child.
But how did your wife handle after the unfortunate passing of
Nothing. I don't handle. I'm a pro. Once I met my wife, and she was with me, I said there is a separation. She goes her way, and you come in my way. You could always call and say hello, but then there is no hanging in the scenery. You know what I mean?
I got you.
I'm
a real McCoy. I was born in the hills of Puerto Rico and raised downtown in Little Italy. and I'm a real McCoy, and I do things before it happens. You understand?
Yeah.
How hard was it for you to share a locker room with Snooker after that?
Oh no, it has no. That we don't. Why should I have? Why should we have any problems? It's got nothing to do. There is nothing to do with what our.
There's business
I
at
don't.
hand.
It's none of my business. You understand?
Okay.
No, but Johnny, let me ask you. She was a friend of your wife for her whole life. Wasn't your wife upset over this at all?
Yes,
Sure.
but you don't understand. It's that's what I'm trying to tell you. When like that happen, and you have nothing to do with it, yes, you feel bad. But then after that, you don't have to be doing anything because there's nothing you could do. What is it that you could do? They make films out of it. They talk about it. They say that me and the sister said that me and Ellen, my wife, introduced her to them, and that's not true. It was the opposite. I just told you how it happened.
Yeah.
The reason why I met my wife is because she had extra tickets and her friend didn't go. My wife was never a wrestling fan.
Right.
She likes boxing. She likes basketball, but she don't like. She never had nothing to do as a kid. As a growing up with her, they never. She never had nothing to do with wrestling. She was invited. She liked it in the garden for the first time. They were friends. So she bought a ticket for the second time just to go enjoy herself. But she wound up bumping against me because she was looking for her friend. God put us together. We've been almost 47 years. We had
God bless.
2 kids. We had a girl and a boy. My wife is a twin. She has a twin sister. Today, our son has a twin kids. And then the sister has a girl and a boy. So you see, we have a family, my wife and I. We created a big family.
What happened with Rick?
Why did he never get over?
Fully?
Quick straw.
Yeah, quick straw, my girl. It wasn't too quick straw.
Quick straw.
That guy.
What went wrong there?
He's not a bad guy. He wasn't a bad guy or anything like that. He was delusional in the sense that he came from I don't know, Carolina, Florida, whatever the fuck he comes from, and he was supposed to be state amateur champion in wrestling, and he was bench press. I don't know how many pounds and all that. He was only about 5'10", 5'9", and he thought he was a gorilla. And when he was in the ring, and they put him over, they tried to put him over, but he thought he's kingpin, and they put him with me. He didn't know how to get over, so every time they put him with me, he was always trying to go behind me. So I showed him that you don't go behind me because you can wind up being a raccoon. And after a while, they put him with this guy and they put him with that guy, a tag team in here. They even attacked him with Andre the Giant to see if he gets over. Never got over. He was too proud to be in the ring. The last time I worked with him, they put him in Torrington, Connecticut, and they had a sellout in a high school somewhere. And Arnold Scollin says, Johnny, you and McGraw go and give me 20-minute Broadway. And he quickly asked Scollin, did you say 20-minute Broadway? And Scollin says, what's the matter? Your ears are plugged? Yeah, I want 20-minute Broadway. Me? He said 20-minute Broadway. I said, okay, Arnold, no problem. You got it, baby. I don't have a problem. But he questioned this because he thought they were going to put him over. Well, he was pissed. He went in the ring and wanted to go behind me. I gave him the beating of his wrestling career because there was no TV. So, and all the boys watch. And I have no problem doing that because he's I think he was Carolina State wrestling champion. And I don't have no record nowhere about being no wrestling champion. All I know is you don't go behind me and get away with it and try to make me look like a jerk because I don't know how to wrestle. All I know is that they taught me how to defend myself. So, and I'm proud to be saying that in the years in the beginning, around 1963 or whatever it was, or 65 or 67, whatever. Remember Carl Gotch when he was in New York with Rene Goulet doing the tag team.
And Rene Goulet, of course.
Well, Carl Gotch, who's a good shooter, and Victor Rivera, and myself, and Frank Martinez, and Gypsy Joe, we used to go to Brooklyn, and boy, that we trained with Carl Gotch. So Carl Gotch teach me, I would say close to a half a year, at least 1 day a week or 2 days a week. We got together in Brooklyn because we only had like an hour, and I took an interest in learning how to make somebody look stupid in the ring and don't look like I did it. You know what I mean? So he learned, but you see, it has nothing to do with me doing that. He's dead. The guy is dead. He didn't learn how to take care of himself. I don't know how he died, but they found him dead.
Right.
You know, Johnny.
You know about that, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Died
I
young.
mean, I don't even know where they found him, but he was supposed to be dead in some hotel room or something. Why? I don't know. He was taking
heart attack,
But who
yeah,
knows?
because I think he was taking, maybe he was taking steroid. I have no idea.
Probably.
And I have nothing bad to say. All I know is that he wasn't my, he wasn't a guy that I could go in the ring and be proud to have a match like I used to have with Rick Martel. Rick Martel is one of the best babyface workers that I ever worked with.
He's great.
Nice.
We love Martel.
So
I could close my eyes and have a hell of a match with Rick Martel without any problem. Tony Gurria. I could go in the ring and with no finishes, no nothing, and have a hell of a tear the house down with Tony Gurria.
how was Kevin
Well,
Von?
listen. Kevin Von Erich, he was a young guy, very young, amateur wrestler. The family has the money. Father's a promoter. They put him. They go over a lot in their territory, but they send him to New York. They give him a tryout. Vince probably want to use him, but they always want to test them first. Even whether they put you on TV or a regular house or the Madison Square Garden is the best way to test. Vince asked me, can you do 15, 20 minutes with him and get him over somehow? Of course, Vince, no problem. Why not? I love Vince. Whatever he wants, I don't care. The funny thing about it is I go in there, and as soon as I go, the guy wants to hit me in the head, wants to slap me around. He's working, but he's hitting me in the head. He has no respect of the regular entertainment or the regular challenge. He's treating me like I'm here. I'm ready to smack you all over the place. And then he's trying to do all kinds of high spots about wrestling or something. Well, he learned a lesson real quick. And he went over, but the match was. I don't know if you guys seen it, but it's still. Yeah, and then that's not a match. That's not the kind of match I want. I want you to get over, and by the time they announced his name, he was gone. He disappeared. So you wasn't proud enough to be in the garden with me. I'm not supposed to be somebody that you could be proud enough to wrestle. You're a schmuck. You just started. But that's okay because I'm not. I didn't lose no weight over that. Paul Heyman was young, very young, and we're going back. He was a kid. He's still a kid, maybe 17, 18, 19, 20, I don't know. He was around. And he was kissing ass all over the place because, he wanted to be involved in the wrestling business. He's not a bad guy. He's a good guy. He just wants to be in the business. And then he just want to do whatever he had to do. He'd be driving the band for Mr. Fuji, and Mr. Fuji would use him like a slave. Come on, brother. We're going to go up north, and you're going to be the driver. So, he's going to drive. It'll be me and Hans Colin and Andre the Giant. And who's the driver? Paul. He be driving. And whether I sit and be co-pilot, whether Mr. Fuji be co-pilot, and then he make this guy drive, and we're going down miles and miles, and then he said, pull over, and we're going to do a couple of squats in the parking lot, and so you could wake up and drive again. That's how he started, He wanted to be in the business, so he did his duties. And then Paul Heyman, wanted me to go with him in Philadelphia and bring the boys and be a booker or work with him and build a company that he wanted to build, and he was nobody. And the father gave him some money so he could do a little Mickey Mouse TV, and you know how it started. And then bling bling bling. I said no, I don't. I have a job, and I only do this 2 days a week at Gleason's. I says I could give you the boys. I can take all the boys you want, and at the Kevin Sullivan came around and started hanging around a little bit, trying to get some boys, and I let them all go. Bill DeMar, Taz, all those guys, Damien Demento, and anybody that the Twin Towers, all those guys. So I let them go, do a little bit independent with them. I didn't care because I only did 2 days a week at Gleason's Gym from 2 to 8. The rest I was doing the newspaper job, and I wasn't going to leave that. Well, that's my union job. So I didn't want to go with him. I could have gone with him and be probably partners. Who knows? That's how it started. And then Tommy, Dick, and Harry started coming in for him, and who he gave $1,000 to come and work with a Funk Jr. with the other guy. And the other guy, he kept doing it. And it was cheap to do the bingo hall in Philadelphia. That was a rat hall, with rats around. But it's an arena, and they built it. They built it by doing, you know what the crowd was. Holy.
Yep.
And then that got over with all these hoodlums that want to see that kind of game. And before you know, the only reason why ECW is still mentioning, I bet you guys don't even know why.
Why?
Why? Because remember, here's what happened. The game is clean. The game is top. The game is on pay-per-view by Vince McMahon and the Big Shots. Here comes ECW, where it's nothing but a rat hole, and everybody's cursing and everybody's hitting people with the bob lights,
Breaking every rule.
the garbage can, their chairs. They're cutting everybody. They cursing like crazy, and then the big shots, the ones with the big power, don't want the government. Well, let me put it this way: say some kid sees somebody hit with one of those bulb lights, those fluorescent lights, and break it over their head. Say some kid decided to take a bulb and then hit some other kid in the head, and then the government will come out and say, we have to ban wrestling. So what happens is it gives pro wrestling a bad name to the guy and to Vince McMahon. So Vince McMahon decided, you know what? Let me make this guy an offer he can't refuse.